In 1939, a researcher at the University of Iowa named Wendell Johnson wanted to prove that stuttering was learned, not genetic. So he designed an experiment. He took 22 orphans and divided them into groups. Some received positive speech therapy, praised for their speech. The others received negative therapy. They were told they were showing signs. The others received negative therapy. They were told they were showing signs of stuttering and should be ashamed of themselves. They were interrupted, criticized, and made to feel defective. The goal was to induce stuttering in children who didn't have it. Sadly, this did work. The children in the negative therapy group developed speech problems, anxiety, and behavioral issues that lasted their entire lives. Some never spoke normally ever again. They were psychologically scarred by an experiment. They deliberately harmed children to prove a point. The study was hidden for decades and only came to light in 2001. The University of Iowa eventually apologized and called it regrettable. The survivors received a settlement, but the damage was permanent. These were orphans, already valuable children. These orphans were the most vulnerable in society, used as test subjects and then discarded with their trauma. The researchers knew what they were doing was wrong, which is why they hid it. They did it anyway in the name of science. Regrettably, the only reasons we have the frameworks that we do today is only because researchers abused the subjects they had at the time. The children of the monster study are just one example of it. Philosophically, this is about the relationship between knowledge and morality, and some individuals believing that pursuing that knowledge is worth the cost of obtaining it. The monster study did prove that environment affects speech development, but in the pursuit of this knowledge, it was only gained through deliberate cruelty to children. There's no universe in which that trade-off is acceptable. This isn't even a trolley problem where harm is a side effect. Harm was the point. It also raises questions about scientific culture and ambition. Johnson was a stutterer himself and deliberately wanted to prove stuttering wasn't genetic. His personal investment drove him to ethical blindness. This is a warning that all researchers and individuals should bear in mind. When an individual is too invested in the outcome and proving the theory becomes more important than the welfare of the subjects, atrocities can and do happen. The monster study is a stark reminder that science without ethics is just systemized cruelty. Good intentions don't excuse bad actions, and the pursuit of knowledge divorced from moral consideration can justify almost anything. We like to think that individuals are objective, rational, and ethical, but we're all human, subject to the same biases and capacity for cruelty as anyone else, and that should terrify us. And that is this episode of Spooky Science for you.